We all see it in the gym, right? Those foam rollers, the massage balls, people diligently rolling away before they hit the squat rack.
Oh, yeah. It's everywhere.
And for years, it's basically been gospel, hasn't it? Roll out, loosen up, improve your performance. But what if that whole ritual, that warm-up staple, is actually maybe working against you?
That's a provocative thought.
Well, here on the Deep Dive, you know our mission. Cut through the noise, sift through the sources, and pull out those nuggets of real knowledge so you can get informed fast.
Get right to the core of it.
Exactly. And today, we're cracking open a recent scientific study that honestly might just make you rethink your whole pre-workout routine, especially if you lift or if you're just into exercise science.
This is a really interesting one.
Yeah, so we're going to unpack this paper titled Effects of Foam Roller and Massage Ball with and Without Vibration on Squat Load Velocity Profile of Resistance-Trained Adults.
Quite a mouthful, but important stuff.
It is. It's by José Carlos Aragão-Santos, Marzo Edir da Silva-Grigoletto, and David G. Behm. Published in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine. We'll stick all the details, DOI and stuff, in the show notes for you.
Good.
So, the big question we're tackling today is, are these super popular self-massage tools really helping your dynamic strength, specifically for something like a squat, or could they actually be hindering it? What's the science really saying now?
And that's what's so fascinating because, while these tools are incredibly popular, almost standard practice, their actual specific impact on dynamic strength tasks like a heavy, fast squat, well, that's remained a bit ambiguous in the science.
Yeah.
This study gives us some really crucial and maybe surprising insights by comparing these different tools head to head.
Okay, let's get into their approach then. What exactly were they comparing?
So the researchers set out to compare the effects of like a standard foam roller,
a
regular massage ball, a vibrating massage ball, and then critically a control condition where participants did nothing beforehand.
Just a baseline.
Exactly. And their main focus was on how these tools influenced the squat load velocity profile, basically. How fast people could move a certain weight through the squat.
Speed and power, essentially.
Precisely. And they also looked at muscle activity using EMG, electromyography.
Gotcha. And how does this fit into, the bigger picture of research on rolling?
Well, it connects because a lot of previous work has looked at range of motion. And, meta-analyses, big reviews of studies, they generally do show these tools can acutely improve flexibility, right after you use them.
Okay, so they can make you more flexible short term.
Yes, acutely.
Right.
But there's much less agreement and often really no clear benefit found when you look at actual performance metrics, things like jumping higher, sprinting faster, or in this case, squatting with velocity. That's where this study really adds value.
Right. So who were the people they tested this on? Were they beginners, pros?
That's a good question. They had 14 participants, experienced resistance-trained folks, 11 men, 3 women, aged between 18 and 40.
Experience. Okay.
Yeah, and the key thing is they all had at least 3 months of regular back squatting under their belts and could handle high-velocity squats with at least 20 kilos. So definitely not newbies. They knew how to squat.
Okay, that's important context. And the study design itself, you said it was clever.
Yeah, it was a crossover design.
Yeah.
Which is great because it means every single participant did all 4 conditions.
Ah, so they acted as their own control, in a way.
Exactly. They used the foam roller in one session, the massage ball in another, the vibrating ball in a third, and then the control condition. This really helps isolate the effect of the tool itself rather than just differences between people.
Makes sense.
And before and after each of these little interventions, they performed 8 back squats, and all those key metrics were recorded very carefully.
Can you tell us a bit more about the specific tools, like what kind of roller, what kind of vibration?
Sure. The foam roller was a standard TheraBand one, about 30 centimeters long with ridges. The massage ball was a Myostorm ball, about 10 centimeter diameter. And the vibrating version was just that same Myostorm ball, but switched on. It had a vibration amplitude of 2 millimeters and a frequency of 100 hertz.
Wow, specific. And the actual rolling part, how long did they do it for?
It was pretty brief, actually.
Yeah.
4 sets of 30 seconds rolling on their quads and glutes, switching sides each set. So just 2 minutes total of the self-massage before they did the squat testing.
2 minutes total, okay. And what were they measuring during those squats? You mentioned velocity.
Right. They look really closely at movement velocity, specifically the first, second, and third fastest reps out of the 8, plus the overall average velocity.
Okay, so multiple speed measures.
Yep. And for range of motion, they measured hip vertical displacement, basically, a proxy for squat depth, how far down the hips traveled.
Gotcha.
And then the Muscle activation, the EMG, they tracked the vastus lateralis, a big quad muscle, and the semimembranosus, which is one of your hamstrings, to see how active those key movers were.
All right, the setup sounds really solid. So
Yeah.
let's get to the juicy part, the results. Because this is where it gets, like, really interesting.
Absolutely. This is where it challenges some common beliefs. The study found that all the self-massage conditions, the foam roller, the regular massage ball, and the vibrating one,
Yeah.
they all modestly impaired squat velocity compared to doing nothing beforehand.
Wait, impaired as in made them slower.
That's right. Not drastically,
Sorry.
but consistently slower compared to the control condition.
Wow. Okay, give us the specifics on that velocity drop.
Sure. So all three tools, roller, ball, vibrating ball, they led to a reduction in the speed of the second fastest rep compared to the control.
Okay.
And furthermore, the foam roller and the vibrating ball also decreased the speed of the third fastest rep and the overall average velocity compared to control.
So pretty consistent slowing across the board, especially for the roller and the vibrating ball.
Exactly. A modest but measurable decrease in velocity.
Okay, but what about muscle activation? Did anything light up more? You mentioned the vibrating ball.
Right. The vibrating massage ball did produce a significant increase in quadriceps EMG activity during the fastest repetition. So the quad was working harder, electrically speaking.
Okay, so that sounds like it should be good, right? More quad activation?
You'd think so. But here's the kicker, the crucial twist. They also saw an increase in hamstrings EMG during that same fastest rep when using the vibrating ball.
Hamstrings. But they work opposite the quads in a squat.
Precisely. This suggests an increase in co-contraction.
Ah, like we talked about hitting the gas and the brake simultaneously.
Exactly. Your quads are trying to push up fast, but your hamstrings are also firing more, potentially acting like a brake, resisting that upward movement. And that could definitely impede the velocity, even if main mover is more active.
That makes sense. Okay, so velocity was generally down. What about range of motion? That's a huge reason people roll, right? To get deeper squats.
It is. But here's maybe one of the most surprising findings. There were no significant changes in hip vertical displacement, that measure they used for squat depth.
No change at all.
Statistically speaking, no significant difference between any of the rolling conditions and the control group in terms of how deep they squatted.
So rolling for 2 minutes beforehand didn't actually help them achieve a greater functional range of motion during the squat itself.
According to these results, no. Despite what many people believe or what maybe other types of ROM studies show.
Wow. Okay, so velocity down, range of motion, no change. But was one tool maybe less bad than the others?
Well, that's how the researchers framed it. They concluded that the standard non-vibrating massage ball showed the least detrimental effect on squat performance among the three tools.
Least detrimental, not exactly a ringing endorsement for any of them for performance.
Not for squat velocity in this context, no.
This is fascinating, but it does raise questions, like why did the study find no ROM improvement when, as you said, lots of other research does show rolling helps flexibility?
That's a really important question, and it gets into the nuances. One big factor could be how range of motion was measured. Many of those previous studies looked at, say, maximal passive range of motion, like how far can someone stretch your leg, or static flexibility test.
Right, like a sit and reach test or something.
Exactly. But this study measured hip displacement during a dynamic squat. It's a complex, multi-joint movement, not just stretching one muscle in isolation. Participants were focused on the squat task, not necessarily achieving their absolute maximum depth.
So maybe the rolling helps passive flexibility, but that doesn't automatically translate to deeper movement in a complex exercise like a squat.
That could be part of it. Plus, think about the protocol. They did 8 squats for the testing. That itself might induce a little bit of fatigue, which can sometimes slightly decrease range of motion, potentially canceling out any small benefit from the rolling.
Interesting point. Any other reasons for the discrepancy?
Well, a couple more possibilities. The 2-minute duration might simply not have been long enough to elicit a change in dynamic ROM for this kind of activity.
Maybe needs more time.
Perhaps. Also, the specific foam roller they used had a smooth surface. Some research suggests textured or denser rollers might create higher pressure and potentially have more effect, though that's still debated.
Okay.
And we should mention the participant group, again, mostly men. Some larger reviews hint that foam rolling might be slightly less effective for improving flexibility in men compared to women. With only 3 women here, that could add some variability.
Right. Makes sense. And what about the velocity decrease? How does that fit with other studies? Because you hear mixed things Some say rolling helps jumps or sprints. Others say no effect or maybe a slight decrease.
Yeah, the literature on performance is definitely more mixed than the ROM literature. While, like you said, some individual studies might show small benefits for certain activities and others show small decreases, a lot of the reviews conclude there's often no significant effect either way. This study, though, definitely leans towards a slight impairment for dynamic squatting velocity after this type of short rolling intervention.
Which really makes you wonder why it would slow you down. What's happening physiologically?
That's the million-dollar question. One leading theory for performance reduction relates to the nervous system. The pressure from rolling might temporarily decrease the excitability of the motor neurons, the nerve cells sending signals from your brain to your muscles.
So it kind of dampens the signal.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It might inhibit the stretch reflex slightly.
Yeah.
Think of it like turning down the muscle's readiness to contract forcefully and quickly.
Yeah.
That would naturally impact power and velocity.
Okay, that makes sense for the roller and the regular ball. But what about the vibrating ball? Vibration is often thought to increase muscle tone, right?
That's the paradox. Vibration often is thought to enhance the stretch reflex, potentially increasing muscle activation or tone. And indeed, they did see increased quad activation with the vibrating ball.
Right.
But they also saw that increased hamstring activation, that co-contraction. So even if vibration tried to wake up the quads, the simultaneous braking effect from the hamstrings might have been stronger, especially given the specific high-frequency and low-amplitude vibration they use here. That combo might be key.
So it created interference, essentially.
That seems like a plausible explanation for the velocity decrease seen with the vibrating ball in this study.
Okay, so boiling this all down, what's the practical advice here? If you're listening and you roll before you squat, what should you take away from this?
Well, based purely on this study's findings, the researchers concluded that these tools, foam rollers, massage balls, vibrating balls used for 2 minutes beforehand, did not improve squat range of motion and generally reduced squat movement velocity.
Reduced it. Okay.
They did note the standard massage ball had the least negative impact. So if you absolutely feel you must use one of these right before squatting for speed or power, maybe the plain massage ball is the slightly better, or rather less detrimental, choice. But critically, they found no benefits for dynamic ROM or velocity in this context.
So maybe save the rolling for after or on recovery days if performance is the main goal of that session.
That could be a reasonable interpretation based on this evidence for acute effects on squat velocity. Of course, we need to remember the limitations.
Right, always important. What were they?
Well, the sample size was relatively small, 14 people, and heavily skewed towards men, only 3 women. This increases variability and makes it harder to be certain about smaller effects.
Okay.
Also, while they were all resistance trained, their specific prior experience with these tools varied. Someone who rolls all the time might respond differently than someone new to it. And again, this looked at acute effects of a specific 2-minute protocol on dynamic squatting. It doesn't necessarily tell us about chronic use or different exercises or longer durations.
Got it. Context is key.
Always.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. To recap our deep dive today, this specific study indicates that a short 2-minute warm-up with foam rollers, massage balls, or vibrating massage balls didn't help squat depth and actually led to small decreases in squat speed for experienced lifters.
That's the main takeaway. And the standard massage ball seemed to be the least problematic of the 3, performance-wise.
Right. It strongly suggests that at least for immediate dynamic strength performance in an exercise like the squat, these popular tools might not be giving you the edge you think they are and could potentially be slightly detrimental.
Which definitely raises an important question for you, the listener, to ponder. If these tools aren't boosting your performance for dynamic lifts, how could you maybe adjust your warm-up? What strategies would better optimize force and velocity? Something to think about.
Absolutely. And if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of this research, we strongly encourage you to read the full article yourself.
Yeah, definitely worth a read.
Again, a title is Effects of Foam Roller and Massage Ball with and Without Vibration on Squat Load Velocity Profile of Resistance-Trained Adults. Authors are Aragão-Santos, Silva-Grigoletto, and Behm in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine. Links in the show notes.
Check it out.
And hey, if you found this deep dive valuable, if you like getting these kinds of insights, please make sure you follow our channel, turn on those notifications too so you don't miss our next exploration.
We'd appreciate it.
Thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, question everything, and stay well informed.